Wins on this road trip. And hi again, everybody. Alongside Chris Welsh, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds baseball. And the pitching matchup today, a pair of solid right-handers. Matt Belisle has done an excellent job moving into the rotation. Rodrigo Lopez, healthy again, pitching well for Colorado.
Well, Matt Belisle's been very good, especially on the road this year. Overall, he's 5-4. He's 4 wins, 1 loss on the road when you get him away from Great American Ballpark. Maybe he can continue that this afternoon. Rodrigo Lopez missed more than a month with some elbow problems. He was on the DL. He came back against St. Louis, pitched a pretty good ball game. What you're looking at there is a sinker ball pitcher. We'll see if the Reds can figure out a way to solve him.
Well, the Reds are going with their killer B lineup, if you will, today. Adam Dunn is sick. So in the lineup today, Dwayne Wise, Norris Hopper, Chad Moeller, and Juan Castro. We'll see if that's good enough to make it 2 out of 3 here in Denver. Of course, the Reds started this trip taking 2 out of 3 against the Astros. We'll see how they fare today. Skyline time. So we are set to go. The Reds and the Rockies in the finale, the rubber game, the decisive game of this 3-game weekend series, and the final meeting between these two teams in this 2007 year. Ken Griffey Jr. was to have had the day off, but now he's in there in right field. Adam Dunn wasn't feeling well before the game yesterday. He played, feeling even worse today. He'll sit. It should be noted, Chris, you and I spoke with Wayne Krivsky at length before the game today in regards to the Josh Hamilton situation, and he told us that in the medical opinion of the medical staff of the Reds people, along with the minor league folks that are watching him play down there for Louisville, that he would be best served by getting another day of rest and making the trip to St. Louis rather than flying to Denver. So there you have it. The Reds starting lineup is brought to you by Rico. Norris Hopper in left, having a good road trip. Hatteberg at first, Junior in right, and Encarnacion at third. Gonzalez a shortstop with Wise in center field. Juan Castro to start at second. Chad Moeller catching Matt Belisle. So we're underway 2-0 on Norris Hopper. Generally, Lopez is a guy who throws a lot of strikes. 15 strikeouts in 23 innings against only 2 walks.
Those numbers you see on Lopez primarily in the first few weeks of the season. He went on the disabled list back in April. At the very end of April, he missed nearly a month of this season with some elbow problems.
In the air, right center field. Who wants it? Brad Hopp there to get it. And Norris retired, 1 away.
Rodrigo Lopez, well, you're looking at a guy who you may call a poor man's Greg Maddux. He does it the same way Maddux does, but maybe not with as much flair. Sinks his fastball, get a lot of ground balls, and he's been very efficient with his pitches. This year, he has averaged only 12 pitches per inning, which is outstanding. It does show you, Tom, a guy that comes right after you in the strike zone.
You know, you look at some of the numbers in this young man's career. He came up with San Diego originally in 2000, only around for 6 starts that year. Moved on to Baltimore, won 15 games in 02 with an ERA of 3.5 in that American League East. A 7-game winner the following year, but then back-to-back seasons where he won 14, he won 15. Last year he lost 18. But Colorado figured that based on his track record, he was a guy that could win a lot more than he loses. So when they dealt away Jason Jennings to the Astros, they felt like Lopez would step in there and pick up the slack.
Well, they like these surrounding numbers for Lopez. The fact that we've talked about it already, the fact that he throws strikes, the fact that he gets ground balls, and the fact that he's a veteran pitcher. And you lose a pitcher of the quality of Jason Jennings, you have to replace innings in your starting rotation. He pitched 200 innings back in 2005, and last year was simply a bad year for him. So sometimes you buy your stock low and you hope that it comes back to where it's selling again high.
That ball in the air to straightaway center field. Drifting back is Taveras at the track. Hatteberg hit it a long way, but a long loud out in the first 2 set down by Lopez here in the opening inning. Take a look at Colorado defensively, presented by Ford. Taveras flanked by Holiday and Hoff in the outfield. Atkins and Helton on the corners. Matsui at second, and Jamie Carroll, only his second start all year at short, replacing the rookie Troy Tulowitzki today. A battery of Lopez and Yorvi Torrealba. Junior at 287. 12 home runs. He hit number 12, his first at bat of this series on Friday night. And he has 32 runs batted in. The Reds beginning play today. 13 games under 500, 22 up, 35 down. With Milwaukee's loss last night, the Reds did not lose any further ground in the Central. They're 9.5 back beginning play today. See Taveras out there very shallow again in center field for the powerful Ken Griffey Jr. And Lopez falling behind every batter here in the opening inning. Went 2-0 on Hopper, 3-0 on Hatterberg, now 3-0 on Jr. The 3-1 pitch coming to Ken Griffey Jr. is off the inside corner, ball 4, so he's the first base runner of the game for the Reds. And it gives Edwin Encarnacion a chance to bat with 1 on and 2 out.
I think the confidence in Edwin Encarnacion has not grown significantly. Here's a guy who was down in AAA just a couple of weeks ago. Now he's batting number 4 spot in your lineup.
And the numbers on the rise for Encarnacion, up to 253, 3 home runs and 22 runs batted in. Edwin, since being brought back up, has started now 13 straight games at third base.
And he says by his own admission that the difference between Edwin before he was sent down and after he was sent down, where he's hitting over 400, is the fact that he's being much more selective. And, you know, we saw that early, Tom. Jerry Narron saw it. Jacoby, the pitch hitting coach, saw just trying to pound into his head. Stop chasing pitches out of the zone.
Well, Encarnacion just dumbfounded by both calls in this at bat. He thought the first pitch was low and away. He thought the second pitch was in. But Bruce Dreckman, today's home plate umpire, says strike 1 and then strike 2. Edwin, since coming back up, a .333 batter with 8 RBIs in the 12 games. 1 and 2. The Brewers already underway in a 2-0 lead in the 4th inning at home over the Marlins. The Cardinals out to a 3-0 5th inning lead in Houston. And the Cubs a 5-0 lead over Atlanta. A game in the 3rd inning. Lou Piniella suspended indefinitely by Major League Baseball following his tirade yesterday at Wrigley Field. For those of you that may have seen the video, that those maybe that did not, Lou Piniella, arguing a call at third base, began kicking dirt on the umpire's feet around the third base bag, and apparently actually made contact with the umpire when he was kicking some of that dirt. And whenever that happens, you will be suspended. For those of you that didn't see it, here you go. Vintage Lou Piniella. Lou came back to say after the game, after he saw the replay, that the umpire made the right call.
Well, you have to figure that part of that was Lou just trying to breathe some life into that ball club.
2 Hopper down to third. Garrett Atkins throws out Encarnacion to end the inning. So now Matt Belisle will take the mound in a. Colorado coming to bat in the bottom half of the 1st inning. Let's take a look at Clint Hurdle's starting lineup, brought to you by Rico. Willie Taveras leads off in center. Kaz Matsui at second. Matt Holliday in left. Todd Helton, the cleanup hitter, at first. Garrett Atkins back in the lineup at third. His first start in this series. Brad Hawpe is in right. A ladder third of the catcher Torre Alba. Jamie Carroll, the shortstop. Rodrigo Lopez on the mound, and starting it for the Reds, looking for win number 6. And his second win on this road trip is Matt Belisle.
Well, he's been somewhat of a road warrior on the year. You see the walks and strikeouts. Matt Belisle, for a youngster, showing some pretty good control out there. He is 4-1 on the road, Matt Belisle is. Coming off a very good outing against the Astros. A live fastball to 94 miles an hour. You'll see some cutters, some sliders, some curveballs. And what's impressed me about him is he is learning on the job. Just seems like getting better and better in making pitches and having complete confidence in his stuff that he can get big league hitters out just by pitching to the zone.
Tavares a .320 batter with 10 runs batted in, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. The Reds may have found a keeper here for quite a while in Matt Belisle.
Now there's the home and road split we were talking about. The earned run average really not all that bad at home. It's just that he has not gotten a lot of luck or some run support on the road. However, he has been very good. Ernie under 4, and he starts it off the way you want to.
Boy, just pinpoint location and command for Belisle. We've seen a lot of that from him this season. Tavares gone on strikes. Now the Reds on defense, brought to you by Ford. The first start of the year for Dwayne Wise. It comes in center field. Hopper moves over to left and Junior's in right. An infield of Encarnacion and Gonzalez on the left side. Castro and Hatteberg on the right. And Chad Muller hanging the signs. Now Kaz Matsui takes down an in, ball 1. Matsui, that batting average up over 300. A .311 hitter. Has had a very good series. 3 hits and 6 at bats. Has scored a couple of runs, stolen a base. He's missed a lot of time this season. Missed 33 games on the disabled list with lower back spasms. He was just activated a week and a half ago. Taking all the way 3-0, and there's a strike. Pull to the right side. Hatteberg, a race to the bag. Belisle will win it. Well done by Hatteberg and Belisle. Boy, you delay, Chris, as you know better than anybody. You delay just a fraction of a second, and that's a base hit.
Well, especially when you've got a speedster like Kaz Matsui batting from the left side. This guy could get down the line quickly. And, you know, that's a good shot right there. Matt Belisle keeping good concentration on the ball, but he knows where the bag is. Yeah, he'll look down to watch his foot hit the bag, but, you know, you've got to get over there in a hurry. You don't get over the line and then run down the line. Your job right here is to beat the runner, put your foot on the bag, and that's about as good as it gets. Nicely done. It looks simple when it's done right. It's not always that simple.
Edwin plays it on the second hop, and the inning is over. Belisle wasting no time at all. A grand total of 10 pitches in a 1-2-3 opening inning. His first year as a starter. A scoreless game as we begin the second inning. Alex Gonzalez to be followed by Dwayne Wise and Juan Castro. Rodrigo Lopez making only his 5th start of the year due to those elbow problems. But when he's been on the mound, he's been very good. A 2-0 record and the ERA at 2.35. Picked up by Lopez, and the throw is not going to be in time. So Alex Gonzalez laying down a bunt, and he's aboard to start the inning.
I love that play. It may not work at every ballpark. Of course, back in the days of artificial turf, it was awfully tough to lay a bunt down because you end up with a 2-hopper to the third baseman. But when you've got the third baseman playing back here, it's an easy way to get on base if you can just get it down. Boy, he hides it until the very last second. That is a good job by Alex Gonzalez to reach a runner here and lead the inning off.
Now Dwayne Wise, 0 for 1 since being brought up from the minor leagues. He shows bunt and takes a strike. Wise in 44 games at AAA Louisville, a .256 batter, 7 home runs, 19 runs batted in. When they brought him up, he was leading the International League with 7 triples and ranked 3rd in the league with 24 extra base hits. When you look at him, you think a slap guy with a lot of speed. Dwayne Wise swings and swings hard.
some people may say he may swing a little too hard. When he was down in Atlanta in 162 at bats, he did hit 6 home runs, but his batting average was the tune of 228. Somewhere there's got to be a common ground where you swing controlled enough to still have some power, but also to get the ball in play when you have to.
0-2 the count on Dwayne Wise, a leadoff bunt single by Gonzalez. And that one just missed a fastball off the outside corner.
This is Dwayne Wise's third different major league team he has been on. He broke in with the Toronto Blue Jays. He played 1 year, a cup of coffee for the Blue Jays, really a couple of those, a little extended time with the Atlanta Braves, and now this is the second time he's been up with the Reds.
Pulled by Todd Helton down the right field line. On his way to third is Alex Gonzalez. Hawk fell down, so they're going to wave around Alex. Here comes a cutoff throw. Nope. Matsui going to hang on to it. And Dwayne Wise all the way to third. Gonzalez scores all the way from first, and the Reds have a 1-0 lead here in the second inning. Hawk sliding, trying to cut that ball off before it got to the wall. And in doing so, it hit off his mitt and then rolled away from it.
Boy, quick bat right there on a high fastball by Rodrigo Lopez, right by Helton. Usually that ball is picked up by him very quickly, but it got on him so fast he couldn't react. There's the play down in the right field corner you were talking about. I think still Wise is going to third anyway, but the fact that Alex Gonzalez was able to score on that when it got away from the right fielder, Reds will take it.
Infield drawn in. Juan Castro, the batter. He looks at a strike. Well, runner at third here in the second inning of a 1-0 game, and Clint Hurdle bringing the infield in. Oh, and 2.
Pretty interesting strategy, really, because back in the day, before the Humidor, back in the day of the Lake Street Bombers, you would never, ever see a Rocky infield playing in. Not at this point in the ballgame.
No. 0-2 on Juan Castro, and Lopez delivers to the plate against a fellow Mexican, Juan Castro, and it's down and away, 1 ball and 1 strike.
What you're trying to protect against here, if you're Juan Castro, is a strikeout. Just trying to put the ball in play, knowing full well if you can get even a lazy fly ball to the center fielder, you're going to score another run.
Castro 8 hits and 56 at bats this season. He has 1 sacrifice fly. In the 56 at bats, he has struck out 14 times. A 1-2 pitch coming. Try to get him to chase that breaking ball down and away, and he doesn't. Two and 2 to Castro. Wise at third. And it bounces up there, and Torrealba, even though he didn't get the glove down, he still had it in backhanded mode, was able to smother it and keep it in front of him.
Boy, very fortunate this ball didn't bounce off a part of his glove. He barely got it in the webbing right there, did not move his body over. Hey, with a runner at third base, you expect the catcher to give a little more body effort than that. He was fortunate.
3-2 on Juan Castro, and Lopez to the plate. Struck him out swinging.
First strikeout after a flurry of breaking balls. He finally comes in there. It looks like it with a sinking fastball. Some good bottom out on that pitch. It went started about the knees and went straight down. Not a good 2-strike swing by Juan Castro. Looked like he pulled off it badly, and Lopez gets an out, and they're still going to keep the infield in.
It's a big at bat here for the Reds. Chad Moeller, the hitter, with a pitcher spot in the on deck circle. 1 out in the inning, a runner at third. You got to find a way to make it a 2-0 game right here and right now.
You give him 1 swing, then put the squeeze on.
Would you?
Yes. take the pressure off your hitter. I mean, here's a guy that is a 220 lifetime hitter. You get down to the bottom of this Reds order today, and you don't have a lot of pump.
1 ball and 1 strike on Chad Moeller.
You know, you're running out essentially your backup lineup. You've got Junior in there, yes. You've got Encarnacion in there and Alex Gonzalez, but nearly everyone, Hatterberg, but you know, 2/3 of that lineup are bench players. You need to scratch them out whenever you can.
1 ball and 1 strike to Chad Moeller with the infield, and here comes a squeeze, and it is done to perfection. How about that? All right, Mr. Welsh, there you have it. So Jerry Narron puts it on, Moeller lays it down, Wise comes in from third, a suicide squeeze, and that makes it 2-0 Reds. Well done, Chad Moeller.
Well, you know, the beauty of this play, other than the fact that it's a great play to watch, and I just happen to love the squeeze play, is that it's a very easy play to execute. If you're a hitter and you get a ball anywhere near the strike zone, you ought to be able to, at the very least, foul the ball off. Most of the time, you should be able to put the ball down. Doesn't even have to be a good bunt, just on the ground, and you make that number 8 hitter that you've got up there a hero. Well, he gets right out there and shakes hands with the baseball just the way you ought to do it. Good job by Chad Moeller. He goes back to the bench feeling great about himself. And the Reds get another run.
And then they get a base hit from the pitcher, Matt Belai.
You know, it's kind of like putting on a hit and run for a struggling hitter. All you're trying to do is tell him, listen, don't take the responsibility of trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark or find a gap. Just put the bat on the ball here. That's all we want you to do. And sometimes a couple of hit and runs for a hitter that's struggling can get him back having some confidence. That's really got to help Chad Moeller as far as feeling like he's going to really contribute to this ball game today.
So good call by the skipper, Jerry Narron, and well executed by Chad Moeller. And now Belisle is running. And a throw down to second base, and he is in there safely. How about that?
That's got to be his first stolen base.
Yes,
they never
it is.
even looked at him. You see Todd Helton playing behind him out there, and hey, you know, he may have got a word of advice right there from Billy Hatcher, the first base coach, saying, go ahead and take second base. Belisle's a good athlete. You cannot be very happy with that if you're Clint Hurley. They're going to give it to you. Go ahead and take it. You know, it's interesting because this year, Rodrigo Lopez, even in the brief time he has pitched, he's only had 4 games he's pitched in, but he has been the toughest Rocky pitcher to steal off of. He's given up 1 stolen base, 2 now with Matt Belisle getting his career first, but they have thrown 3 out attempting. So he was 3 for 4 throwing them out before Belisle begins to even the odds out a little bit.
Of course, in all those other instances, I would imagine they were holding the runner on at first base.
Possibly. Probably.
Breaking ball in the dirt, 2-0.
Most assuredly.
Well, let's just say good chance. Well, now Hopper with a base hit. Could make it a 3-run inning. 2-0 on Norris Hopper. And a fastball sails up and away. Very un-Rodrigo Lopez-like start here today, falling behind just about every batter in the game thus far.
I'd imagine if you're Norris Hopper, you've got to figure you're going to get, first of all, a 3-0 strike, and you're going to get a 3-1 strike, too. No, you're not. You're right. This is very unlike him. You know what happens a lot of time, Tom? A guy goes on the disabled list. He goes down and he pitches rehab, and the first time back, he pitches himself a pretty good ball game. That's what happened with Rodrigo Lopez. He came out last time after missing almost 6 weeks of play on the disabled list, did some rehab, came out and pitched 6 innings of 3-run baseball against the St. Louis Cardinals. He struck out 8 in that ball game, and they ended up winning the game against the Cardinals 8-3. But then you kind of settle back into your rhythm again. He said he was happy because his elbow didn't hurt, but usually at the second start after the rehab, not nearly as good as the first one, and it's beginning to show right here. He's given up a couple of hits already, and boy, the Reds can do some more damage with a big one out of Hatteberg.
Well, Hatteberg hit the ball right on the nose his first time up. A line drive that sent Taveras all the way to the warning track and straight away center field. Matt Belisle at second, Norris Hopper on at first. 2 runs are in, 2 men are out. And Hatteberg looks at ball 1 low and away.
You know what happens when you're a pitcher like Rodrigo Lopez and you begin to define the strike zone with balls. You can't expand the zone. You want to define the strike zone with strikes first and then expand it. He's working in reverse. So if he throws a pitch that just misses, you turn around and ask the umpire, how much did that miss by? So not much. Okay, that's the outer part of the strike zone there. For it to be a strike, he's got to come even closer in. A lot easier for a hitter to adjust that way than it is the other way.
1 ball and 1 strike on Hatteberg. Took a little off there. 1-2.
Not really a changeup, more of a dead fish pitch up there. His fastball 88 to 89 miles an hour. That one 84. That's a good pitch when you're looking for a ground ball.
Lopez has already thrown 45 pitches in this game, and we're only in the 2nd inning. Right back to the mound, and this will be the final out in the inning. A productive inning. After a bunt single by Gonzalez, Dwayne Wise a run scoring triple. He scores on the suicide squeeze put down by Moeller. This coming Saturday, June 9th, the Reds are having the kids take baseball home thanks to Backyard Baseball Night 2007 presented by Backyard Sports. The first 10,000 kids 14 and younger through the gates get a free Backyard Baseball 2007 disc and player cards. To buy your tickets for the Ohio Lottery Reds Indians Showdown Series, log on to Reds.com. We'll see you there. Bob Castellini making the trip along with his son Phil to Denver today. I would assume they'll be joining us on the way back to St. Louis. That is an assumption. And Mr. Castellini hanging out with General Manager Wayne Krivsky.
That was a surprise visit, at least as far as I know. No one mentioned that the boss would be here today.
Pulled to the right side. Hatteberg will feed Belisle, and Todd Helton retire to start the inning.
You know, it's good that Bob Castellini is here, Tom. It's good that Phil's here too. I guess the only downside of it is they won't be able to watch our broadcast today.
Well, that certainly has to be a major downer, undoubtedly, for the entire Castellini family. But somehow, some way, I get the feeling they'll find a way to get over it. There's always TiVo.
Yes, there is.
Oh, and 1 on Garrett Atkins, a .223 batter. Really having a rough year as Atkins, coming off an outstanding season a year ago where he knocked in better than 100. He's not started the last 2 games. He did pitch hit on Friday night. Only 13 hits in his last 82 at bats. That's a .159 average.
And this is for a guy that hit .329 last year. I mean, with some punch too. 29 home runs, 120 knocked in. Where did it go?
Three and 1 on Garrett Atkins. Took a big hack on a 3-1 fastball and fouls it straight back and out of play. Well, the Reds in front, an early 2-0 lead. Well, what a nice lift it would be for the Reds. And I know we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, but to start this road trip and get a series win in Houston, get a series win here in Denver before an off day tomorrow, and teeing it up with a defending world champion and division rival St. Louis at Busch Stadium day after tomorrow.
Well, you can't make up all the ground at once, and you really can't expect to go out and win 15 games in a row, but you win series by series. You pick up a little momentum, you get some confidence, because the Reds, after they get through with this trip of playing teams that are less than 500, they've got their work cut out for them. When you start playing the likes of, on an upcoming road trip, the New York Mets, the Atlanta Braves, and then the Florida Marlins, you're looking at teams now that have scored a lot more runs. They've got better pitching, and they're overall better teams than the ones they play.
Well, and the upcoming homestand for that matter, as soon as this trip is over, you're playing the leaders of the American League Central Division and the Cleveland Indians, and you're playing the leaders in the American League Western Division, Los Angeles Angels. In the air down the right field line, that will bend out of play.
Well, that may give you a little snapshot of what's the matter with Garrett Atkins. He just has, it looks to me like a slow bat. Last year, you could never say that about Atkins. He could turn on a fastball with just about anybody. That ball is out over the plate, and he just starts everything a little bit late. Body starts early. His hands are just lagging behind.
There it is again. They're just pumping fastballs right down the middle of the plate.
He's got a kind of a busy setup. You see there's a lot of movement there. He's moving his hips, he's moving his hands, he's getting himself squared up to the plate. They're just not all in sync right now.
Well, he jumped all over that one and hammers it into left field, and the Rockies are on the board. Well, Garrett Atkins, that is only his second home run in his last 42 games.
Well, after throwing the ball by him down and away and being late on the pitches, he finally comes inside, and for a guy that's bailing out a little bit and he was fouling the ball off to the right side, you do him a favor when you throw him in, especially when it's up around the letters like that. You got the bat head through that time, and that's just a bad location on the part of Matt Belisle. And a good swing by Atkins. You have to give him some credit.
So a 2-1 Reds lead. And here's Brad Hawk. One of the hottest Colorado hitters right now is Hawk. And 2 hits last night. A .390 batter with 5 home runs and 10 RBIs over the last 13 games. His batting average has gone from .271 to the current .300. Foul tipped into the mid of Chad Moeller. So Matt Belisle ahead of Brad Hawk at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Broken bat, soft liner at Juan Castro, and that's a second out of the inning. We'll remind you, as always, the best sports show period is the greatest nightly sports show on television with your host Chris Rose, John Sally, Rodney Peete, and former Nasty Boy Rob Dibble. That's weeknights at 11 on FSN Ohio, presented by 1-800-SAVE-AUTO. Yorvi Torrealba with the bases empty, a run home and 2 men out. Looks at ball 1 down low. Torrealba, a .216 batter with a home run and 16 batted in. Talking about that upcoming weekend series at Great American Ballpark against the Cleveland Indians. They had won 5 in a row over the Detroit Tigers before last night. The Tigers winning for the first time over the Tribe this year, and they're letting them have it today. Detroit 7, the Indians 2. That game in the 7th inning at Jacobs Field. A bullet at Alex Gonzalez will end the inning. A solo home run by Garrett Atkins, his 4th of the year, puts Colorado on the board. The Rockies trail the Reds 2-1.
Telecast is presented by authority of the Cincinnati Reds and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Matt Belisle and Chad Moeller talking things over in the Reds dugout. The Reds with a 2-1 lead as we head for the top half of this 3rd inning. Ken Griffey Jr. to start things. He'll be followed by Edwin Encarnacion and then Alex Gonzalez against Rodrigo Lopez. Two and one. Sounded like he broke his back. Perhaps not. Just a funny sound as it's pulled foul. 2-2.
Well, you see Junior right after the first pitch in there when he fouled a ball off that was down low to try to practice what he wants to do, which is keep his hands inside the ball. Rodrigo Lopez is throwing that slow stuff down and in, trying to get Junior to roll over on the top of it. Now they're going to work him away.
And he chases up and away and comes up empty. Second strikeout of the game for Rodrigo Lopez.
Nice sequence of pitching really for Rodrigo Lopez, changing speeds, changing quadrants of the strike zone, and finally goes up and away to get a high fastball right by the Reds right fielder.
Edwin Encarnacion bounced out to third, his only time up. Grounded foul, and Rodrigo Lopez for a second straight at bat against Encarnacion gets ahead, no balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, everybody else, it seems like he's getting behind in and giving some hitters counts, but Encarnacion up there didn't like the first 2 pitches he saw in the first at bat, but here he's had a chance to hit these 2.
And he hits this one just out of the reach of Jamie Carroll into left center field. So on an 0-2 pitch, a 1-out single by Encarnacion. Don't forget tonight, the world's best players will once again gather to finally answer the question, who is the greatest poker player in the world? Find out on the Poker Superstars 3 tonight at 7, only on FSN Ohio. Certainly a question that's been pondered by some of the great minds this world has ever known. Plato, Socrates, Shakespeare, Einstein, and Welsh. Who is the greatest poker player of all time?
I haven't read all the reports of the archaeological digs from ancient Greece, but I don't think they found any Texas Hold'em chips yet.
No, they didn't.
But stay tuned.
Well, they had a huge spread on Friday in the USA Today, an entire section devoted to this World Championship of Poker and how enormously popular on television that has become. Well, I know there's some people that are just hardcore about watching that whenever they can.
I know my sons have been playing for fun for years.
Really?
Have a sleepover. I'm talking about 9, 10, 11-year-olds. They know more about the game than I do. You go down there, you deal with that. That's a heavy card game now.
Wow. Off the end of the bat into shallow center field. Taveras coming on to get it, and that will be the second out. He's going to throw into first and quickly back to the bag is Encarnacion safely. Dwayne Wise tripled up the right field line to drive in a run in the second inning and then scored on the suicide squeeze bunt put down by Chad Moeller. We told you when Wise was brought up from the International League, he led that circuit in triples. With 7 up. This ball in the air, straight away center field. Taveras barely has to move, and that'll do it. 1 in, 1 left. We're in the middle of the third in Denver on this beautiful Sunday. The Reds have a 1-run lead. Game with the Reds in front of Colorado. Hey, a big shout out and a hearty congratulations to the men from Lakota West High School. Shutout Cleveland mentor yesterday, winning the school's first baseball state championship. Brian Beaver lost only once all year long. Lakota West 28-5. And look at some of those schools they knocked off to get there. Elder, Moeller. We're going to get back to a couple of those other names in a minute. I didn't catch that last one. Hamilton and
the Bombers.
St. X.
Pretty good team of schools right there. Brian Beaver went right through. I'll tell you, he's a sophomore. 7-1 as a sophomore. Congratulations to Lakota West. What a great thing to have a state championship, to put that trophy right in your trophy case as you walk into school. Congratulations to those young men.
Of course, that area has just exploded up there in Westchester, and used to be just one high school there, and now they split a few years ago. And so congratulations indeed. That's great stuff, and congratulations to all the parents along with the kids, and the moms and dads that are getting those kids to practice every day and picking them up. It's great stuff. The one thing I did notice, however, on that list, a very impressive list of beating Elder, Moeller, Hamilton, St. Xavier. Somewhere along the line, somebody's pretty smart up there at Lakota West to duck the boys from Anderson.
You think that's what it was?
I don't think so.
They'll have their chance next year.
But they got the Bombers.
They did get the Bombers.
It gets under your skin just a little, or no?
Well, no. It really doesn't, because, all those teams are good. It just goes to show you that in a game of baseball, if you have a hot pitcher, especially at that level, a guy that can shut down the opposition, you gives your team a chance to win. And that's what you're looking for. That's a good brand of baseball that is played amateur baseball in Cincinnati. Tom, you played Midland baseball growing up in Cincinnati, and I did too. And it's as good a baseball as you'll find anywhere in the country.
1-2 to count on Lopez. And right back to the mound. Belisle's got it, and that will be the second out of the inning. If you ever wanted to be a rock star or a pitcher, well, on Friday, June the 8th, that's It's Friday, you can look like every Reds fan's favorite pitcher / musician, Bronson Arroyo, getting your very own Bronson Arroyo cap, complete with the blonde hair. Just be one of the first 20,000 fans in the park, and you'll get that Fox Sports Net Ohio Bronson Arroyo cap. Presented by Fox Sports Net Ohio. We'll see you there. Now, you're not doing the Cleveland series this weekend. Did I read that right?
That is correct.
Okay.
I missed them both times. I missed them on the road and missed them here at home.
Bunted by Taveras, barehanded by Belisle, and he'll just hang on to it wisely so. Taveras leading the major leagues with 16 bunt hits this season. We brought it up last night. No other player has more than 5 bunt hits.
Well, this is his best offensive weapon. I mean, he does it as well as anybody, and you're not going to throw him out on that particular bunt. But one of the things that you might consider doing, you pull the old Pete Rose, Mickey Rivers strategy, where you bring your third baseman in so far that you kind of tend to intimidate, and you have him watching that third baseman with one eye, and trying to figure out whether he can drop a bunt or not. And I think that might be something that you should consider when you're facing Willie Taveras, because if you make him swing the bat, he's not nearly as good a player.
You see 17 bunt hits for the Rockies, 16 of those belonging to Taveras. Strike one to Kaz Matsui. Reds in front 2-1. We're in the bottom of the third. The sky's beginning to darken a bit. Bright sunny skies early. Slowly but surely, things beginning to darken. That pitch just ate up Matsui in. 0-2.
Little slider right there. Boy, he had red fastball all the way, and once you're committed, he couldn't stop himself.
balk is called, I believe, on Bilal. Yep.
I don't think he stopped. You know, what he was trying to do with Willie Taveras at first base is change the sequence, change the timing as to how long he held the ball. The pitch previous to this, he held it for a long time. Here he gets it and goes without a discernible stop. I think that's what they called it. Looked like he stopped momentarily, though. No argument.
Oh, and 2 to Matsui. Came back with that pitch down and in on him again, and this time Matsui lays off.
Well, that's a hard fastball, or a hard slider, that is, at 89 miles an hour. Bilal will touch his fastball. Today he's around 92, 93 with that fastball. Might be more of a cutter, but it's got a nice little pitch.
Slapped into left field, a base hit. They're going to wave around Taveras, and now he stops. And on to second, the throw goes there, and the runner is out at second base. How about that? The Rockies run themselves right out of the inning. They were waving Taveras, then a late stop sign. Moeller steps out in front of the plate, delivers a strike to second, inning over. Alongside Chris Welsh, Jeff Pecoro, and our entire FSN Ohio crew, welcome back to Coors Field in Denver. The Reds lead Colorado 2-1.
Boy, Tom, going back to this play, I am absolutely stunned that they did not try to send Willie Taveras from second base on a base hit with 2 outs. I think so is Kaz Matsui. When Matsui saw that ball going all the way into the plate and it went in, it could not have been cut. He threw a rainbow throw in there, and it did end up in front of home plate. It could have been an out at the plate. But Matsui saw the throw go in. He figures, I'm going to second base. That's a normal, good base running play for Matsui. Just that the whole thing backfired for the Rockies because Mike Gallego, third base coach, held up Taveras, and everybody was surprised. I think Taveras surprised everybody but Gallego. Got to score him, don't you, with two outs?
No question, not even debatable. Pulled foul on a 2-0 pitch by Castro. You're talking about one of the fastest guys in the game. Forced the defense to make a perfect play.
Yeah, and if they throw him out, they throw him out.
Two and 1-1. He'll be followed by Chad Moeller and then the pitcher Matt Bilal. And there's a base hit in the left center field by Castro. Over to cut it off is Taveras. And he'll hold Juan to a leadoff single. That is a 5th hit for the Reds today against Rodrigo Lopez.
Well, he struck out the first time, did Juan Castro on a fastball that was down and in. This time Lopez gets one up and out about waist high, and good swing by Juan Castro as he lines it in for a base hit to start the inning.
Now Moeller, who drove in a run on the suicide squeeze back in the 2-run second inning. Ball 1 away. The Brewers still leading the Marlins 2-0 that game in the 7th inning. The Cardinals a 1-run lead over Houston, 4-3 in the 7th at Minute Maid Park. And the Cubs today trying to avoid getting swept by Atlanta at Wrigley Field with a 9-0 lead over the Braves. Only one final in from a National League. Arizona makes it 2 out of 3 in New York with a 4-1 win over the New York Mets. That San Diego team leading in Washington 7-3, a game started by David Wells. You and I were looking inside some of the numbers, pitching numbers of the San Diego Padres, and they are just absolutely astounding. In fact, so much so that you think it is a misprint when you look up the total number of runs the Padres have allowed this season compared to everybody else in the league.
Well, first of all, they don't walk anybody. They've got the fewest number of bases on balls as any team in the National League, and their team earned run average is under 3 at 294. Now, usually you're fortunate to have 1 or 2 starters with an earned run average under 3. Their entire team is that way. And they better have good pitching because they're not scoring too many runs.
No. But just about on average, if you look at all the teams in the National League, they've given up right around 240 to 250 runs. The Padres have given up 180 runs so far this season.
180 runs compared to the Reds, for instance, who have given up 292 runs. 112 runs more the Reds have given up than the Padres at this point in the season. You only say 55 games into the season.
Slowly hit. They'll have a hard time turning to, or will they? They can't do it. Oh, and if you're wondering, the other team in baseball running neck and neck with the Padres, the Oakland A's have allowed 2 more runs than San Diego. All right, our Aflac trivia question: who are the 2 players in Reds history to have 380 or more total bases in a single season? We bring it up because Todd Helton, the Colorado first baseman, has had a pair of years where he's had over 400 in a year. Here's Matt Belay, and he puts down the bunt. Torrealba going to look at second, play to first, give Belay his 4th sacrifice of the year. And Moeller in a scoring position with 2 men out. Now this one I think I know the answer to. Believe it or not. My 2 guesses are going to be Frank Robinson and George Foster. You want to chime in with any other guesses besides those 2?
I've confessed to you yesterday about how bad I am on trivia questions, so I'll go with you on that one.
Well, I'm not any good at them either, but just thinking about the Reds historically. Of course, Foster in 1977 was the National League's most valuable player, hit 52 home runs that year. There's no doubt in my mind that he had over 380, and I haven't even looked it up. And I'm just guessing Frank Robinson because he was the best player in the league while he was in Cincinnati. We'll find out. I mean, you and I did a major league swing and a miss as a duo yesterday.
Oh, we missed Joe Medwick.
And Tris Speaker. And Stan Musial. We did get Todd Helton right.
Yes, we did.
Apparently there was pity on us from the rest of the crew.
That's why he gave us a little bit of a gimme today.
Well, I don't know if that's a gimme. We'll find out. At least it narrows down the choices. We're talking about just Reds franchise history. 2-2 on Hopper. It's a big run out there at second base for the Reds. 2-2 to Norris Hopper. The Reds in front by a run here in the 4th. And that run has a chance to score, or will it? They're going to wave now, hold Moeller. Hop has a very good arm. The throw misses a cutoff man, but in safely at second is Norris Hopper.
Nice bit of hitting by Norris Hopper on that pitch. Lopez is working him away, figuring he's going to get a slider. That's what it was. And he just shoots it into right field. Now, Moeller had a big lead at second base, but you see how quickly the ball got to Hop out in right field, and he makes a throw to the plate, a strong one. But Hopper never stops. He's figuring like Willie Taveras did, or that like Kaz Matsui, that is, that throw is going to go to the plate, and I'm going to have a chance to get the second. So the Reds get the benefit of runners in second and third, and the Rockies ran themselves out of the inning.
Scott Hatterberg, the batter, 0 for 2, is lined out to the wall in center field in the first inning, and then left 2 on, ending the second with a comebacker to Lopez on the mound. Strike 1. 2 balls and a strike on Scott Hatterberg, who's knocked in 18 runs this season. The base hit right here, he could send that total to 20. Runners at second and third with 2 away, and the 2-1 pitch is taken on a check swing. They appeal up to the umpire, Larry Poncino. He says no, he didn't go around. It was a 3-1 pitch that Hatterberg mashed to center back in the first inning. Junior waiting. Hatterberg jumps all over that 3-1 offering and hooks it foul. Boy, that's a 3-1 hack right there.
You're not kidding about that. This is a good swing. Look how he just keeps his weight back, and he just really turns on that ball just a hair out in front. That's the kind of swing you want to take in a hitter's count.
Man, he's got a nice swing.
And he's got a nice eye, not one to usually chase pitches out of the zone.
3-2 on Hatterberg. Payoff pitch. Pulled again. Not as crisply, but it's still good enough to hang around.
Yeah, that pitch very difficult to try to keep fair. A little slider coming down and in. You know, unless you swing straight up on this pitch, you can't keep it fair.
A lengthy visit to the mound by Yorvi Torrealba. And now he'll come back behind the plate. Another 3-2 pitch upcoming to Scott Hatterberg. Bowler stands at third, and around the bend and up the trail is Hopper at second. Here's a payoff pitch once again. And it's popped up, and Lopez going to wiggle off the hook. Holiday's got it. That is that. 2 hits, 2 left. The Reds have stranded 6 and lead by a run. Time to answer our Aflac trivia question. Who are the 2 players in Reds history to have 380 or more total bases in a single season? We guessed Frank Robinson and George Foster. How about that? We're right for a change. Boy, those are monster years right there.
Just goes to show you, I know when to agree with you, Tom. And those weren't guesses. I think you may have had some insider information.
No. I really didn't. On the ground is short, and just in time is Alex Gonzalez. No, I will not cheat. I mean, I would rather be completely, as I have been just about every game, humiliated by guessing wrong.
Well, these guys humiliated some pitching in their time, I can tell you that. The season that George Foster had in 1977, you already referred to it, 112 singles, 31 doubles, and 52 bombs. Frank Robinson in 62, 51, 2 triples. Traded shortly thereafter. Milt Pappas, does that ring a bell?
Yeah, an old 30 was a description for Frank Robinson.
He found the fountain of youth in Baltimore.
Apparently so, for about another 10 or 11 years. Oh, and 2 to Todd Helton. You know, Frank Robinson, a guy who has just given so much back to the game of baseball, oftentimes the mega stars. I mean, not just Hall of Famers, but even the elite of the elite. And Frank Robinson certainly fits that mold. To think how much he has given back to the game since retiring. He has done just about everything that you can do. He's managed, been a general manager. He's worked for Major League Baseball, worked with the umpires. I mean, he's done everything. Been an executive. And undoubtedly would come back and work again somewhere in baseball if asked. He knows the game. He cares about the game. Very much cares about the future of the game. You start talking about some of the giants like Frank Robinson. And you can make a very strong case that among all of the Giants, he has given more back to the game than any of the others.
Overall impact, probably as much as anybody in baseball, the history of baseball.
Yep. 2-2 the count on Todd Helton.
Well, perhaps that's one reason why the Reds have decided this year to honor Frank Robinson with a bobblehead.
That'll be really cool. A Frank Robinson bobblehead. Rounded down to first. Hatteberg is there. 2 up and 2 down for Matt Belisle here in the bottom of the 4th inning.
Actually, what makes it huge, or huger, if you want to look at it like that, Frank Robinson will be honored with a bobblehead in the same season that Tom and Marty Brennan will also be honored with a bobblehead.
Why did I know that was coming?
Can't wait for both of those.
Oh, yeah. Well, I tell you, there is a photo finish foot race in the contest to get the Marty and Tom bobblehead or the Frank Robinson bobblehead. They just have to make sure they get my dad's hair right. Don't want to mess that up. Popped up in a short right. Who wants it? It's going to fall in. And into second base with a bloop double goes Garrett Atkins, who's also homered in the game today.
Now for a young man that hit the 320s last season, he has been awfully bad so far this year, but you wonder if maybe he's just beginning to wake up. He hit a home run his first time up, a line shot that left out of here on the left field part of the field, and this time he bloops the ball down to right field. You know, getting back to the bobbleheads for a second, in the previous Marty Brennan bobblehead, of course, it was Marty and Joe. They got his hair pretty good on that one.
They did.
Of course, I still chuckle when I think about that bobblehead because Rick Stowe got that bobblehead and then put a little super glue on it and had Marty and Joe kissing and put it in his office, and it remains there. So
that ball drilled off the bat of Brad Hawk. And this is going to tie the game. A bloop double, a ringing double. After the first 2 were retired, and we are now tied at 2.
Now, Brad Hawk has had some pretty good swings on the day already against Matt Belisle. Hit a line drive on a slider right at the second baseman, Brandon Phillips, his first time up. That time, that line drive, nobody's going to bring back. It one hops the wall. Junior picks it up, fires it in. Hawk gets a double, picks up a 2-out run batted in.
Brought up how hot Hawk has been of late. In his last 13 games and 2 at-bats, he now has 4 doubles and 11 runs batted in. The inning continues for the Colorado catcher, Yorvi Torrealba. A go-ahead run in scoring position with 2 out. Torrealba hit a line drive right at Alex Gonzalez, his only time up today. Oh, 2 on Torrealba. 2 runs, 6 hits for the Reds. 2 runs, 5 hits for Colorado. The Reds have missed some scoring chances in this one. They've left 6 men on base, including 2 in the second, 2 more in this 4th inning. Slow roller to short will strand the Rockies' 3rd runner of the game. But doubles by Atkins and Hawk with 2 away in the inning tie the game at 2. It's a big league nature in this state.
There certainly is. In fact, you want to see some bison close to home, you can just wander down I-75 to Big Bone Lick State Park in Kentucky. They've got a whole family of bison down there. Look just like those buffalo.
Really?
Yeah.
You spent a little time down there?
Yes, sir. It's a very interesting place. On a hot, day. Make sure you're not too far downwind of those babies, though. Let me tell you.
You go down there and do a little reflecting.
You can smell nature.
Nothing better than that. Oh, and 1 to Ken Griffey Jr. Well, a wild one late today in Houston. The Cardinals had led that game 4-2. Houston came back tied at 4-4. St. Louis went up 5-4 in the top of the 8th inning, and now Houston has tied the game in the bottom of the 8th inning at 5. We will see the Cardinals the day after tomorrow. 2-1 to Jr. He'll be followed by Encarnacion and Alex Gonzalez.
Fewest at bats per home run versus the Rockies. This is the all-time we hate you team for the Rockies. Griffey, Pujols, Sosa, David Justice, and Barry Bonds. That's a pretty good foundation.
And the thing about that list right there that is interesting is 2 of the 5 names on that list are Cincinnati guys. Fly ball into left center field. And Jr. retired to start the inning. There's Ken Griffey Jr. went to Moeller High School. David Justice grew up right across the river in northern Kentucky. Covington Latin, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, yes indeed. In that Cardinal-Astro game, it was Albert Pujols who homered in the top of the 8th, and Hunter Pence tied it with a home run in the bottom of the 8th.
Base hit into left field by Edwin Encarnacion, and the ball bobbled up there by Holiday, but he's able to find it and get it back in to the shortstop Jamie Carroll. So Edwin Encarnacion 2 hits today. Let's take a look at the standings in the Central Division. We begin there, brought to you by Honda, where the Reds 13 games under 500, 9.5 back. The Brewers are leading 3-0 in the 8th inning today. And then in the National League West, we talked about by far the best division so far in all of baseball this year. That ball drilled into left center field off the bat of Alex Gonzalez, and this baby's going to the wall. Played on one out by Taveras. He fires back into Carroll. What a nice play by Taveras. Stopping at third base is Encarnacion. Man, what a nice play that was.
Well, he was playing Alex Gonzalez fairly shallow. We've talked about it. You see Gonzalez kind of out in front of that ball, almost the same way he hit the home run here the other night. On Friday, was way out in front of a pitch and pulled it down the left field line for a home run. But Willie Taveras gets burned by playing a little too close to the infield on that one. The Reds find the gap, and in second and third, a good scoring opportunity.
Well, they're going to intentionally walk left-handed batting Dwayne Wise. This will load the bases for Juan Castro. So no sooner does Colorado tie the game with a run in the bottom of the 4th. The Reds with a golden chance to recapture the lead here in the very next half inning. A big chance for Castro. He came to the plate with Wise at third base and nobody out in the second inning. He struck out. Juan led off the 4th inning with a single to center field. Drilled into left center field. This baby is off the glove of Holiday. 2 runs are going to score. Juan Castro delivers here in the 5th. And the Reds have a 2-run lead. And hopefully Alex Gonzalez is all right. He comes limping back towards the Reds dugout. He started to run from second. Then it looked like Holliday might make the catch, and he had to kick it into fifth gear shortly thereafter again to come in and score.
A hanging slider hit like a bullet into left center field. Holliday looks like he's got this ball all the way, but when he goes down to make the sliding catch, he just hits in and out of the pocket of his glove. He just doesn't squeeze the glove shut. A couple of runs will score, and you're right. I think Alex Gonzalez favoring his right knee the way he was kind of stretching it after he crossed the home plate. Still kind of trying to shake it off.
So the day is over for Rodrigo Lopez. He leaves having given up 4 runs. The 2 runners on base, of course, are his responsibility. We're checking on Alex Gonzalez down in the Reds dugout, as Jorge Julio, another former Baltimore Oriole, is our skyline call to the bullpen. This guy throws hard. We'll take a timeout and be right back. The Reds trying to tack on some more here in the 5th. Athletic trainer Mark Mann, his right-hand man Steve Bauman, checking on Alex Gonzalez in the Reds dugout after scoring from second base. The Reds with a 2-run lead, runners at second and third, the infield drawn in, and now on to pitch is Jorge Julio.
And he can bring it. 16 games overall. He's got 99 saves to his career. Julio does.
Julio, originally a Baltimore Oriole, went on to the New York Mets, came to Arizona last year, and this year has already bounced around a couple of different places. That one pulled foul up the left field line.
He was acquired by the Rockies during the game on May the 13th. He was, at that time, of course, he was with the Florida Marlins in exchange for Byung-Hyun Kim.
Infield in, 1-1 to Chad Moeller. The fastball runs high and tight. Julio extremely erratic. One of those pitchers that when he's on a roll and throwing a lot of strikes, he's almost unhittable. But man, when he gets wild, he is as wild as the day is long, and he's fallen behind 3-1. By the way, the scoring decision on that last ball is a sacrifice fly for Juan Castro. He gets credited with 1 RBI. And then an error is charged to Holliday in left field, allowing the second run to score. 3-1 to Chad Moeller. Wow, Julio breaking out the 3-1 breaking ball. Generally for Jorge Julio, that means gas. 3-1. That's what Moeller was thinking. Infield in. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Chad Moeller. Down to left field line. We'll do it again.
How about that? Back-to-back sliders for Jorge Julio. He made a real good one on a 3-1 pitch. He got this one up a little bit. Moeller just a little bit out ahead of it. You see Torrealba telling him to try to keep it down, but you know, on a 3-2 count, you don't want it too far down. You load the bases.
Or if it gets away from Torrealba, you're going to have a run come trotting in from third base. If it's in the dirt. Chad Moeller wanting timeout. Chad with a runner at third and 1 out. Put down the suicide squeeze perfectly back in the second inning. And he bounced into a fielder's choice to the shortstop in the 4th. 3-2 to Chad Moeller. Popped up. Very shallow left center field. Caught by Taveras. And he hits a cutoff man Helton for the second out of the inning. A missed chance right there for Chad Moeller. Stolen base by Matt Belisle back in the second inning following a base hit. The first stolen base by a Reds pitcher since Danny Graves back in July of 2003 against Houston. You were probably in the booth for that one, Mr. Wells.
Yes, we were. It may have been the same year that Danny Graves hit 2 home runs, both of them little chip shots into the Crawford boxes in Houston. Todd Helton not holding him on, gave Matt Belisle a little bit of an opportunity right there. Nice slide, too. Goes to the backside of the bag right there, reaches his hand out.
Comebacker to Julio, and that'll end the inning. So a nice job by the Colorado right-hander. The Reds score twice and have a 2-run lead after 4.5. Well, Alex Gonzalez apparently having to leave the game after some sort of leg injury. He started, stopped, started, and took off to score.
Yeah, you can see him limping as he came between third base and home on that, and he began to kind of shake his right leg there. He's rubbing his right knee, then shaking it as he got closer to the dugout and then in the dugout, and he's coming out of the ball game right there. It'll be Brandon Phillips who go to second base. Juan Castro moved from second to shortstop, but not good news, not when you lose your starting shortstop to a leg injury.
Who's having a pretty doggone good year. Now, granted, he's committed a few more errors than you would like. But, I mean, a couple of more hits today for Gonzalez. That batting average up around 275. He has 11 home runs, 26 knocked in, 14 doubles. Well, you can't afford to have him out for any length of time, so let's hope for good news. Matt Belisle staked to a 2-run lead for the second time today. The Reds gave him a 2-0 lead in the second. Garrett Atkins made it a 1-run game in the bottom of that inning with a solo home run to left field. Colorado tied the game with doubles by Atkins and Hopp in the fourth, but the Reds take the 2-run advantage again in the top of this fifth.
Yeah, this is a good chance for Matt Belisle to try to work through the lineup. He's at the 8, 9, and 1 in the batting order for the Rockies, and you want to get back in the dugout as quickly as possible. You get a couple of runs, you have momentum swinging your way. This is a big inning for him to come out and throw strikes and retire some batters easily.
It looks as though he'll get Jamie Carroll to start the inning. He does, Encarnacion the catch in foul ground. Wade Hoyt, Joe Nuxall, Marty Brenneman. Those names synonymous with Reds baseball. And on Sunday, June the 10th, get to the game early and join the Reds in honoring 3 of the greatest broadcasters in the history of baseball during a very special pregame ceremony. In addition, 700 WLW will be giving away to the first 30,000 fans in the ballpark a commemorative CD featuring legendary calls from that trio. Be a part of this memorable celebration. We'll see you there. It'll be a great day this Sunday. Strike one to the pinch hitter Steve Finley, batting for Jorge Julio. Pulled foul. The Brewers shut out the Marlins. A final from Miller Park. 3-0 Milwaukee a winner. The Pirates lost to the Dodgers today at PNC Park 5-4. And the Cardinals have just taken a 6-5 lead in the 10th inning against Houston. One and two to Finley. In the air, right center field. Dwayne Wise waving off Jr. 2 up and 2 down for Matt Belisle.
Willie Taveras has already dumped down a base hit with a bunt. And look where Edwin Encarnacion's playing now. Not even with the bag, not even a couple of steps in front of the bag. He's several steps in front of the cutout, trying to intimidate Taveras a little bit. Now, there are some guys in the league you may not want to play that close at third base. When you've got a guy like Willie Taveras who will drop a bunt down any time, and it's a very thick grass here at Coors Field this year, longer than I've ever seen it, and he's got 16 bunt hits, you go ahead and you try to take it away from him.
In the air, right center field, and it's going to fall. Cut off by Wise, and Taveras pulls in with a double the other way.
Pretty good swing that Willie Taveras put on this pitch. That's a slider going down and away from him right there. Not all that bad of a pitch, just about knee high by the time that he strokes it in the seam between center and right.
So Taveras stands at second. Kaz Matsui, the batter, with 2 men out. Matsui today has bounced out to Hatteberg and singled into left field. That was back when Taveras was standing at second base. They held him at third rather than waving him in. And Matsui assumed that he would try and score and wound up being thrown out at second base to end the inning. Threw a fastball right by him there. It even accounted 1 ball and 1 strike to Kaz Matsui. .70 pitches for Belisle. In the air, left center field, on the run, Norris Hopper. He will run it down. Nicely done out there by Norris, and that'll end the inning. A hit, a man left. We played 5. The Reds lead 4-2 ball game, and Dick Pohl, Matt Belisle, along with Chad Moeller, getting together in between innings. Welcome back to the Coors Light 6th inning. Time for the Coors Light Cold Blast. Garrett Atkins, a home run for Colorado's first run of a game today, back in the 2nd inning. It was a blast. Third pitcher now used by Clint Hurdle. We've seen Lopez, Julio, and now Ramon Ramirez.
Ramon Ramirez made his major league debut last year in 2006 with the Colorado Rockies. He is now in his 15th game overall. Earned run average inflated, but he's got a pretty good strikeout pitch. In 11 innings, he has struck out 8 and walked only 2.
Norris Hopper to lead things off for the Reds. Norris has been on base twice in 3 plate appearances today. He's flied out to right, drawn a walk, and then singled into right his last at bat in the 4th inning. This one into left center field, another base hit for Norris Hopper, and he's coming to second. Here comes a throw, the slide, and he's in there safely just ahead of the tag.
You got to love the aggressive play of Norris Hopper on this. Never thinking single. At a Coors Field, this is a ball field that gives up a lot of doubles on balls that are hit in front of the outfielders. And he just books it all the way around first base, right into second base. Not blazing speed, but Hopper has enough speed to you take notice of it. Finally made his major league debut after 9 seasons in the minor leagues. Norris Hopper gets his 6th double of the year.
And that'll be Scott Hatteberg, the batter. Runner at second, nobody out to begin this Cincinnati 6th inning. Ball one low and away. Hatteberg obviously at the minimum here, trying to hook something on the ground to the right side and advance Hopper on to third base. The Reds have missed on numerous chances thus far in the game today. Yes, they have 4 runs, but through the front 5 innings of this game, they have left 8 men on base. Good fastball there by Ramirez on the outside corner. He gets ahead of Hatteberg at 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Now the Rockies scored an extra run late in the ball game yesterday to give them a 3-run cushion. Give a 2-run cushion to Coors Field. That's not the safe margin. You'd love to be able to put at least 1 on the board right here. Nobody out, man on second. Good opportunity to get something done.
High tapper off the plate. That's a fair ball, and that's going to advance a run.
Now they're going to call that a foul ball. The first base umpire, Gary Darling, right away said that was a double touch. I think it hit the plate, hit the bat twice. See if we can get it slowed down enough to see it. Hit the ground and then hit the runner in the arm. It looked like, I mean, hit the batter, Scott Hatteberg, in the arm as he followed through on the swing.
Leadoff double by Norris Hopper here in the top half of the 6th inning. It's 1-2 on Hatteberg and a bluff throw back to second base. Hatteberg waiting, and Ramirez a long look back at Hopper. Now another. Struck him out. Very unproductive at bat right there by Hatteberg.
Not a good at bat for Scott Hatteberg. A very good at bat for the Rocky pitcher, Ramon Ramirez. Little sinking fastball curling away from Hatteberg, knowing that Hatteberg's trying to pull the ball to right field. He just kept that 2-seamer down and away from him.
Now Junior walked back in the 1st inning. He struck out swinging in the 3rd. Fly to center field in the 5th. Two 2-0 on Ken Griffey Jr.
Hey fans, if you're looking for a delicious burger that is great on the grill, then look for JTM's fully cooked original beef patties, now packed in their new red resealable sacks. JTM, more of what you're hungry for.
And now they're going to go ahead and intentionally walk Ken Griffey Jr., which will give Edwin Encarnacion a chance with 2 on, and Edwin already a couple of base hits in the game today. Fastball misses inside to Encarnacion for ball one. Edwin grounded to third back in the opening inning. Single to left field in the third, single to left, and scored in the fifth. And pretty good numbers for Encarnacion in these situations. That's the one thing about Edwin, even during some of his struggles this year, is for a guy who's been in the minor leagues already for a couple of weeks this season, he does have 22 runs batted in.
Well, you know, he's a much better hitter in a situation where the opposing pitcher has to throw a strike. Where Edwin falls short is when he begins to expand the zone and start chasing pitches in his eyes, trying to be a little too aggressive.
Good hitters count right now. And grounded fair up the left field line. Scoring is Norris Hopper. Jr. on his way to third. He's safe there on an RBI double by Edwin Encarnacion, who smacks his hands together, and why not? Since coming back from Louisville, he is looking like the Encarnacion that Reds fans saw most of last summer.
Well, he's a young man that Jerry Narron has pinpointed as a guy who could be a run producer, a middle of the order kind of a bat, and they were concerned about him early just from a plate discipline standpoint. But a 2-0 count, he gets a ball to hit and whacks it right down the third base line to drive a run in.
So now it will be Brandon Phillips batting for the first time today. He came on to play second base when Castro moved over to short for the injured Gonzalez in the last half inning. And that one down a left field line, foul. Well, the Reds leading 5-2. They have 10 base hits here today. Really another big chance, not necessarily in this ballpark to break it open. We're only in the sixth inning, but certainly make it a very tough task for Colorado.
Well, you want to put the ball in play right here. They've got the infield drawn in. You know that if you just score one run right now with one out and runners in second and third, doesn't take a base hit, just needs a ball into the outfield.
1 ball and 1 strike on Brandon Phillips. Infield in. And the fastball is in. 2 balls and a strike. That ball hammered into deep right center field. Taveras looks up and it is gone. A 3-run home run by Brandon Phillips. So the lead swells from 3 to 6 on one mighty crack of the bat.
Ramon Martinez trying to get a ball down. You see Yorvit Torrealba says, I want that ball around the ankles, but it comes in there just about thigh high, and a good swing put on it by Brandon Phillips. Boy, does he have some power between the gaps.
A 4-run 6th inning after a 2-run 5th inning to break a 2-2 tie. And the Reds lead 8-2 here in the 6th inning, and they're still batting with only 1 out for Phillips' home run number 10. Well, that's how you make them pay after intentionally walking Ken Griffey Jr. You get an RBI double by Encarnacion, and then a 3-run big fly off the bat of Brandon Phillips. 1-1 on Dwayne Wise. For Phillips, his first home run since the 25th of May against the Pirates.
Well, the Reds, you know, they're a home run hitting ball club. About 46% of their runs come via the home run. 75 this year. That's most in the National League. 50 for the Rockies. 50 allowed by the Rockies.
Which is the 5th fewest. They've been pretty stingy with a home run ball.
The humidor is working.
Indeed.
Of course, they've got some pretty good arms on this Rocky pitching staff, but that was a big 3-run blast by Brandon Phillips.
Juan Castro is digging in there. 1 hit in 2 at-bats, has knocked in a run. This one in the air to right center field. Taveras will get it at the track, and that will end the inning. But the Reds score 4 times. 3 on 1 swing of the bat by Brandon Phillips.